Hello and welcome back to my small little library here. Please excuse how I look. It is 30 degrees here. It is just so warm. I get really red when it's warm, so yeah, you get the really sweaty summer version of me now. And yeah, if you can hear the dog move, he's lying on like a cooling pad right now, so he can keep cool. For all of you who don't know, I live in Germany. We don't have ACs or something like that, so we can't cool our houses down with like, yeah, anything like that. So it is also really warm in here. I mean, but let's do the mid-year book Freakout tag. Because let's just be honest, for a day like this, we need a tag. And also, I want to do the tag because I think it's a lot of fun to do it, to look back on what I've read so far. And yeah, let's start with the first question and get right into it. The first question is the best book you've read so far this year. And for this one I have two because I can't really decide. I mean, to be honest, I could have told you 5 books, but we're gonna put it down to 2. The first one is Alice because it was just, I don't know, an experience in itself. Alice by Christina Henry, the pretty much horror version of Alice in Wonderland, where Alice starts out in an asylum for the mad ones out there. So yeah, really, really great book. I really enjoyed that. And the second one, just because I have to kind of, is The Way of Kings, a really, really great fantasy. So this one is pretty much representation for all of the great fantasies I've read so far this year. But yeah, The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. Love the edition, love the story. Obviously, I have to hold both up because they technically are both one book. But yeah, big fan. I really love that one. But yeah, I've also read a lot of other great fantasies, so take it as like kind of a representation for the great fantasy I read so far this year. Yeah, the next book is in here way more than it probably should be, but I just loved it, so I decided to not do it as a favorite book. You will find out why. So, question number 2. The best sequel you read so far this year. And for that one, I had to do Bloody Rose. I absolutely loved this book. It is the second book in The Way of Kings. There is supposed to come a third book. No idea when, but yeah, there will be a third one. But yeah, this one by far the best sequel I've read so far this year. It just brought everything out. I laughed, I cried, it's everything, you know, and it's just a really fun fantasy, so yeah. I would have also put it at the best book I've read so far this year, but because it's the best sequel, I think you can see where I go with it, you know. Also, I just love the characters in this. They were so great, so yeah, a must read in my opinion. I'm really looking forward to part 3. I'm actually really already thinking about rereading part 1, just because I love that one so much as well, which they are just a great read, you know, if you want a fun fantasy and just enjoy yourself reading a book. They're just so great. So yeah, that one you will see in some other questions. So question number 3. A new release you haven't read yet, but you want to read, and that is one I just received recently. The Witch King by Martha Wells. She's the one who wrote the Murderbot series, so I'm really looking forward to this one, especially since the main character seems to be like kind of a bad guy. But yeah, it just it sounds like a really great fantasy. The book looks fantastic. And yeah, I'm a little bit intimidated, which is why I haven't started it yet, but I really want to. I really just have to pick it up and do it. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. I really loved the Murderbot series. I mean, I have only read, I think, 3 of those, but yeah, I really loved those. I need to continue with that, but I'm bad with continuing series, you know? So yeah, this one is also standalone, I think, which is nice. So yeah, hopefully you will see a vlog where I will read this in the near future. But I won't make any promises. And then, question number 4. The most anticipated release for the second half of the year. And I'm gonna put the cover here, but that is Children of Memory, the third book in the Children of Time series. My all-time favorite sci-fi series by Adrian Tchaikovsky. I am looking forward to this one. I think the paperback comes out on the 27th of July. So it does come out next month. I will definitely pick it up directly when it comes out. And yeah, I'm just looking really forward to that one. I absolutely loved part 1 and part 2. Children of Time and Children of Ruin. So yeah, I'm so looking forward to that one. You just cannot imagine. It's just... Tchaikovsky really is one of my favorite sci-fi authors. His fantasy... He has books who are a little bit more fantasy than sci-fi, but I think mostly sci-fi. So yeah, if you like sci-fi and you haven't read books by him yet, you definitely should. Start with Children of Time, it's just great. And yeah, I cannot wait for it to come out. I think I already looked it up for like 3 times if it's out already, because I'm just always forgetting when books come out, so yeah. And then question number 5, the biggest disappointment I've read this year. For that question, I have 2 contenders, because these 2 were both incredible disappointments. The first one is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. I really despise the main character. I don't think he's any fun to read. Like, especially if you think about the first 300 pages, I absolutely loved him. And I loved the story. And then you pretty much like, there's a life change and everything after that is just going to shit. So yeah, this was an incredible disappointment, because this is one of these really, really hyped series where you always see people being so disappointed that book 3 isn't out yet. I know now why people are so disappointed that book 3 isn't out there yet, because the book only really makes sense if you have read all 3 books, and yeah, if book 3 is missing, it's kind of sucky, you know? But yeah, I hate the concept that the story really only makes sense if you read all 3 books, kind of one after the other. So yeah, one big disappointment. I can't really understand why it has so many good reviews, to be honest. I don't even really think the word building is that great. And yeah, the main character is just an asshole. He's really, really weird. I don't think it's a good main character, you know. Okay, and then the second really big disappointment was TJ Klune in The Life of Puppets. Way too much references to Pinocchio. They weren't necessary at all. The tone of the book, or the undertone of the book, is really weirdly sexual, even though the main character reads really, really young. Just a weird concept, if you ask me. And yeah, I didn't really like any of the characters. I think they were all kind of weird in their own way. So yeah, I didn't enjoy the read, which was really disappointing, because only other TJ Klune book I've read so far is The House in the Cerulean Sea, and I loved that one, and so really disliking everything about this one and kind of missing this feeling that the other one gave me made this a real big disappointment. Then we have question number 6, the biggest surprise, and that one was, I think, by far the Last Tale of the Flower Bride, because I personally thought this one was a little bit of a romance, a fantasy romance, but still a romance. And yeah, the whole thing kind of revolves around a relationship, but the way the book was told really hit home, kind of, the story. I think there was a real big like mystery aspect in the book, and I kind of really liked the main character, even though she's kind of the bad one. Like, not our male main character, but the female one. She's kind of the bad one, but kind of really not. And yeah, I just like the twists and turns. I like the story. I enjoyed the relationship the book revolves around. And yeah, this really surprised me. I didn't expect it. And I was really happy that I really liked such a good-looking book. Then, question number 7 is my favorite new author. And I have to be honest, most of the new authors I read something from, I only read one book from. So I don't know if you can really call that a new favorite author. But if I have to choose one, I will choose S.T. Gibson, because I read A Dowry of Blood by them this year. 5-star book, absolutely loved it, and yeah, I do desperately want to read more by them. I just haven't bought anything yet. But yeah, a great surprise. I hadn't heard of them before, which like, just not knowing on my part, like they have a lot of books out there, they're really popular, but I didn't know them. So yeah, for me this one was a new author and I really love them. And they are also, when we come to the next question, which is my newest fictional crush, but let's be honest, I never thought about something like that before, because obviously I'm not like a big romance reader, or like a reader who reads books for relationships, and I'm not really good with imagining people in my head. So those constraints said, I would say that Constanza, the main character of A Dowry of Blood, is my new favorite fiction crush, because she's just superb. I love her. She's just, I don't know, she just has it all. Well, no, she suffers a lot, but she has it all. I don't know, I really like love the way like the book spends a lot of time and a lot of different fashion, and yeah, just her morphing into these different seasons of life and these different fashion styles and stuff like that, I think is really, really cool. So yeah, I'm just gonna name her as my fiction crush, because I don't really have crushes on fictional characters. I don't know, it's just not a concept that is really like something I ever thought about. Then question number 9. So my newest favorite character, and for that one I thought hard about it, because I think I have a lot of favorite characters, like a lot of the main characters of Bloody Rose I could have chosen for this. But I decided to land on Tress, from Tress and the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson, because I just saw so much of myself in her, like how kind of like her character development. I saw a lot of like my younger self in her, which is why I can really connect with her, which kind of makes her my new favorite character. Whew, it is too warm. Then after that, a book that made me cry is question number 10. And yeah, I've already told you that, but yeah, I cried my eyes out in Bloody Rose. There were like 2 or 3 really, really sad scenes in here, and I did absolutely cry like a baby. Thank God nobody was here to see me. But yeah, this one really, really made me cry. It's just, there were so many sad scenes in there. Why do you do that to me? I don't know, Jane. Especially since, like, you know, it's the second part in a series, and you know, having older and new characters and really loving them, and then yeah, having heartbreak there. It hurt, it really hurt. But then question number 11, a book that made you happy, Bloody Rose, because this book made me so irrationally happy while reading it, even though it was a total heartbreak. It was also so much fun and so much happiness in the end that yeah, I have to nominate it for both questions, because it really made me happy and it really made me cry. Both in one book. This is really like a thriller ride to read. So you really should if you haven't yet. Then we have question number 12, the most beautiful book you have acquired this year, which is hard to pick out because I have acquired a lot of beautiful books this year. But yeah, okay, so as expected, I have a hard time deciding. So we have a choice between 2 again. The first one is Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. I just personally really love these Kickstarter edition books. They are just incredibly pretty, you know. This is really like my type of book, you know, with the embossed cover and then like a really nice color scheme and a really nice book bag and, you know, all of that. But then I haven't even looked more into this one, but I also really, really love this design. This is Lies We Sing to the Sea by Sarah Underwood. I got it in a book box, haven't looked into it, but yeah, I really like the cover design by this one. So I decided to go with these 2, like there are so many other pretty books I've gotten. Yeah. I'm having a hard time deciding, sorry. Then we have question number 13. What books do you need to read before the end of the year? So, for those, we have, first of all, we have these 3, which is The Martian Seas by Edgar Rice Burroughs. One of my goals this year was to finish that series, and I have 3 physical ones left, and 1 I need to get in as an ebook because I don't own it physically. I'm really over the whole series, but I need to finish it, so these are definitely on my TBR for the rest of the year. And then we have 2 Brandon Sanderson books. I need to continue with the Mistborn series. I need to read book 3, The Hero of Ages. And I also desperately need to continue with the Stormlight Archive, and that means reading Words of Radiance. This is part 1 of Words of Radiance. These intimidate me so much that I always starting them and then I put them back because I'm like, oh no, I can't read that. It's too much, you know? So yeah, I haven't read them yet. But I definitely want to finish those before the end of the year so I can continue with the rest of the Brandon Sanderson books, because I have read not that many, if you really think about it, like 5 of his books. So yeah, really not that much, but I'm really enjoying them, so it's a lot more like the intimidation of reading such big books than anything else. This is really stopping me from reading them, but yeah, they are supposed to be wonderful books, so I really just need to get around to it and read them. And then we have the last question, which is favorite book to movie adaptation. And I have to be honest, I am not a movie person. I rarely watch the movies, I read the books by, so there's only really one that really comes naturally to think of, and that is The Lord of the Rings, because I read The Lord of the Rings this year, I watched all of the movies this year, I listened to the audiobooks, and yeah, it's just one of my favorite movies, it's one of my favorite books, like all-time favorite, and so I can only name that one because I have a few other books where I've read, like watched the movies. Yeah, I know there are a lot of out there. Well, fantasy, there aren't that many movies out there, but obviously in different genres. Like, for example, I've read Shutter Island, that is a movie out there, but I'm not really one for those movies. I much prefer the book versions. So yeah, that is pretty much the only one and also my favorite at the same time. So I hopefully it's okay because it's not obviously not from this year, but I just haven't watched a movie of a book this year. The only thing I really watched that was from a movie is Good Omens. That is from a book, is Good Omens. That is a TV show and not a movie, so I don't know if that counts. Otherwise, we could also do that one, but that obviously also didn't release this year. So yeah, we have to go with The Lord of the Rings. Sorry for rambling, but yeah, I was really unsure how to answer that question. So yeah, that is the mid-year book Freakout tag. I think that's the right name. I hope you enjoyed this. It's kind of cool to look back on what I've read and just to go through all of the books I've read. I have read 77 books so far this year, which is an absolute banger amount of books. I have never read so many so early in the year because it's the last week of June and I'm 37 books in. My goal was 100 books. So yeah, we'll definitely make my goal. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, even though it is a little bit frazzled and yeah, probably a little bit shorter and quicker. And yeah, maybe leave a like, comment your favorites down below that you've read so far this year, and maybe subscribe. That would mean the world to me. And I will hopefully see you in the next video.